today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone. There is a lot is happening across the city. We're going to talk about that. We also have special guests who have a fun local podcast, and we're going to be talking to the two Todds behind that today as well and learn a little bit about that. Before we jump in with Mayor Concannon, I just wanted to let you know that a few weeks ago, actually only a week or two after I started my position in City Hall, someone suggested that we sell city flags. They were asking where we can get them, and they don't exist. So here's the good news. We're selling city flags. And the best news about all of this is it's a really great deal for folks. These retail, if you buy them individually from the vendor we're getting them from, they're $125, but we're selling them for $45 because we're buying them in bulk. And so don't disappoint me. You guys all have to buy flags so we can honor that price. But the best part about it is $10 of every flag sale goes to an emergency fund to help those who are in need. So I'm really excited about that offering. It's a really fun way to support the city and your neighbors and show your Woburn pride. So I just wanted to mention that. And next up, let's talk with Mayor Concannon. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Samantha, how are you?
Good. I saw you all over the city this weekend. There was festival, all kinds of things happening along the way there. How did you eat your way through it as much as I did?
Yeah, there were a lot of events. This was a busy one. We know June is usually probably one of the busiest months in the city. A lot of festivals, a lot of events happening. We started off Saturday morning with the recycling events, one at Spence Farm, one down here at City Hall. We thank everybody for organizing those and for those who came out. That's the way we look at that is every bit of that stuff that's collected is one less piece of trash that ends up along the side of the road or in a brook. So we really appreciate everybody who organizes those and collects all that stuff. And of course, those who take the time to bring it there instead of just dumping it somewhere. We also had what appears to be a weekly car wash at City Hall. I know I've been through, I think, every Saturday or Sunday in the last 3 months getting my car washed. This week was the girls' varsity hockey team. They had a great showing, and I know they appreciate the support of the public coming in and getting their cars washed. And then after that, we had Juneteenth down at the library, which was well attended, a great event. Followed up in the afternoon by the St. Anthony's Festival and then the Greek Church Festival. Yeah. So to your point, there was a whole lot of food to be had. And I'll tell you, I had my share. It was all delicious. My wife and I attended and I got to see a whole lot of Woburn folks. And it was great. It was a busy Saturday. Then, of course, Sunday was Father's Day. So we got a little bit of relaxing with the family, which was nice too. So all in all, a great weekend.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The weather is really hot, expected to be very hot this week. Obviously, we want people to check on their neighbors and friends who maybe don't have any cooling systems, make sure that they're okay, particularly some of our elderly residents, but anyone who might be, at risk of overheating. And, there's a couple places across the city people can kind of cool off during the day, at least a little bit.
Yeah, so we're about to have our first heat wave of the season. Temperatures are expected to be in the high 90s, starting tomorrow afternoon all the way till Friday. So to your point, we do want to advise people to take it easy. Obviously, don't push yourself too much in the heat. Check in on your neighbors and relatives, make sure everyone's doing okay. We'll get through this. This isn't our first heat wave, won't be our last. We do have opportunities throughout the city to cool down. We have our parks and our pools open. As of Thursday afternoon, there's the splash pads and the public pools, but we also have some indoor spaces at the Woburn Public Library, for example, where people can go cool down and maybe just get out of the sun for a little while and regroup. So, as I said, we'll get through this one. It is summer in New England. We know it's going to be hot. So a little bit of common sense and precautions, I'm sure everyone will be fine.
Yeah. And, if you haven't swapped your clothes out for summer, this is a good week to do it. You're going to want those shorts and T-shirts available.
Absolutely.
I love it. You did mention pools, so I'll just mention that the Splash Park at Clap is open. The pools will open Thursday, as Mayor Concannon mentioned. If you don't have a pool pass, you can get them at woburnrec.com, or you can come to the rec office at City Hall and collect those. You do need a pass to get into the pool the pools areas, because those are lifeguards, and make sure we cover the cost and keep everybody safe in those environments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's some great local places to swim. Breakheart, which is not in Woburn, I realize, but is very close to us next door in Wakefield. It's a public space lake. It's a fabulous place to get a lot of shade and to cool off if you're looking for something a little bit more natural.
Yep. Yeah, plenty of
Fun.
opportunities. And again, I think if people just take it easy, don't push themselves too hard, they'll be fine.
Now, this week, and it kicks off inspection service week, where our team will be out checking on properties and things. And I thought it'd be a good chance for you to just talk a little bit about what residents might expect seeing some of our inspectors out and about.
Yeah, so this is work being done by the assessors department here in the city. That's how we determine the value of the property in the city and how we can gauge the appropriate amount to tax that property. So we've got a great assessors department here in Woburn. They work really hard to make sure that their data is accurate and everybody is treated fairly. So they are required at least once every 9 years to have eyes on every piece of property in the city. And they're in that cycle right now. Businesses and residences will be visited. All official, the folks doing the visiting will have identification. Our residential assessors will be in city vehicles with city identification. If they happen to miss you, they'll leave a notification to call the office to schedule a visit. And again, if there's any questions at all about somebody coming to your property and asking for access or to check out what's happening inside, you can always check with the assessor's office here at City Hall. The primary focus right now is on new buildings, new additions, upgrades, activity for which there's been a permit pulled. And then as they move through the cycle, they'll make the way throughout the whole city to try to have eyes on every bit of property in the city.
Yeah. Thank you for letting folks know if they see folks around more frequently than usual. That's why. We also published our paving list very recently, and I think it might be helpful for people to understand what our funding sources is. How do we decide how much money we as a city are spending on paving? Because, obviously we can't pave every street that we would want to. So there was a lot of work, and we've talked about the work that's done to prioritize, but I thought it'd be helpful to talk a little bit about where the money comes from.
Yeah, so the bulk of the money comes from what's called Chapter 90 funding, which is Mass General Law Chapter 90, which is the highway fund. That it's state tax money that is allocated throughout the state to each of the communities. You'll often hear us talking about our Chapter 90 allocation for the year. So it's state funding, that's the bulk of it. And then at the city level, we also try to supplement that each year with a certain amount to try to accomplish as much paving and upgrades as we can. To your point, we wish we could pave more every year. We know that there's a whole lot of streets that could use the work, but there is only so much we can do in a given year. And we try to make sure we prioritize it based on need, volume of cars and trucks traveling on the roadway. And there's a scientific process by which we actually rate the quality of the roadway itself. And we try to use that as the guide to determine which roads should be paved each year. It is a work in progress. There's a list that's published, but obviously there are things that can happen that can adjust that list as we go. But people should feel comfortable knowing that the list is determined by actual need and data and not just throwing a dart at a dartboard or some other, less than scientific way.
Thank you. We have scheduled our annual hazardous waste day. In the past, it has been free for residents. I thought it might be helpful to let them know what it will look like this year.
Yeah, fortunately, we'll be free again. It'll be Saturday, August 3rd. In the morning. It'll be at the high school. There'll be more information to follow on this on the website, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again as the date gets closer. But if you could just mark your calendars for Saturday, August 3rd. Very similar to how it was run last year. We think this is a great way to get some of that material into safe hands and we had a great crowd last year. It works very well, very orderly. So again, it's a free service that the city will be offering, and I'd encourage everyone to take advantage of it.
Great. Last thing I want to talk about is something that I think is tremendously happy news. We had 5 Woburn potential firefighters graduate from the academy last Friday. It was a really special day to cheer them on. What happens next once they, the academy is, the first step to becoming a firefighter?
Yeah, so it's the first 10 weeks at the academy is the initial training, and we were fortunate. We had 5 Woburn firefighters graduate last Saturday. Kelly Brandano, Tyler Cudmore, Anderson Fanfan, Pat Moran, and Cam Piazza. All did very well, and we're hoping that this is the career for them. We appreciate their willingness to step up and serve our community. After the 10 weeks at the academy, they then report to their communities. They'll spend the next few weeks working out of headquarters, learning operationally how to man the desk, the dispatch center at headquarters. They'll also spend time on the ambulance, and then they'll have familiarization with each of the other pieces of apparatus. Traditionally, the newest members of the department spend the bulk of their time either on the desk or on the ambulance. So people should expect to see these newest firefighters out and about. We're very excited to have them on the force, and they'll probably join their groups as full-time firefighters probably within the month. And again, we wish them the very best in their chosen career, and we appreciate their service to the city of Woburn.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have them on board. It's great to see us making that investment, and thankful to them, because that's a lot of work and a lot of time they put in to do this. One of the things that struck me, I was talking to my brother-in-law who's a retired firefighter, and he reminded me that, it's not just about putting a fire out, although they certainly do that, and that is hard work, but they also have to have EMT skills and
Yep.
Intervene with lots of medical calls and lots of calls to help. They're often the first on scene. So we're really lucky to have them.
We are. And it's funny, I get compliments all the time for the service that's rendered by our firefighters and our police officers. And just this morning, someone was in the foyer talking about how compassionate and professional our firefighters are. They had taken care of this gentleman's parents a couple of different times here in Woburn. And I told them how proud I am to hear those kind words. And I believe it. I see these people, I interact with them every day, and we appreciate that they represent the city of Woburn so professionally and so compassionately to people who are in need. And we're thrilled to have 5 more people who have stepped up to take on those tasks and to represent the city so well. So one of the things I'm most proud to be the mayor of the city of Woburn is how our public safety and the rest of our city employees represent the city so well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me, Mayor Concannon. It's always great to chat with you.
Thank you, Samantha.
Great. Next up, we're going to have a really different conversation. We're going to talk about something really fun. I would like to welcome both Todds from Bald Todds Podcast.
Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. How you doing?
Good. You guys also look alike. It's not just the bald head.
Yeah.
I should take off the hat.
Exactly.
There you go. Now I recognize the picture.
Yeah. We both grew up in Arlington, so we're Arlington transplants, but very proud to be here in Woburn. And so we kind of look alike. We sound alike. We're from the same town.
And we both live in Woburn now, both for like 15, 16 years. So
both got some Scottish blood in us too. So, but we disagree on a lot. So that's what makes it fun.
That's what makes the podcast work, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have listened to several episodes, sort of bits and pieces of it, as I've been doing various chores around the house. That's when I sort of do some of my listening, and it is fun to listen to you gentlemen. For those who aren't familiar with the podcast and haven't listened to it, how would you describe it? Because I'll be honest, I wouldn't know how to. So I'm going to leave it to you two as the experts.
You're definitely right. It's pretty random.
Yeah, we don't have one topic that we discuss. It's all very random topics or different places that we go. It's just whatever we think of to do for that week.
Exactly. And it kind of, we hang out a lot. I have a man cave, and that's kind of our studio. So we hang out so much. We're like, why don't we just record this? What we're doing right now. So it's kind of half promoting Woburn businesses and friends of ours that have businesses, half involving our family. Some are reluctant, some aren't. And then it's kind of just middle-aged blue collar humor, and a couple of guys that grew up together. So it's random, but it works.
It's entertaining, and that's important. We need those things in our lives. Now, tell me how this got started. So obviously, you guys are friends. You were hanging out. You crack each other up, I imagine, and so you thought, let's let a few other people listen in and be part of it.
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. One of our best friends, Keith, his son Jack was over, and we were flirting with the idea of having a podcast. He was like, I guarantee you guys won't do it. I dare you. I dare you. And he's coming from a 16-year-old kid. And I'm like, we're doing it now. So I get on Amazon, and next thing you know, we have all the equipment. So
I think that's the best. So obviously I can tell why you called it Two Bald Todds. That is self-evident. But what other names? Were there other things that you kicked around that you considered at any point?
So
No, I
not
think
really. It was pretty self-evident.
I think the name, we came up with the name, and that was it.
Exactly.
That's what made the podcast.
That's been the easiest part of the process.
Yeah.
Really.
That's fantastic. As a former marketer, naming has always plagued me. It can be this thing that never ends. So it's nice when you catch something that really works and it comes together so quickly. How would you?
He's starting his own. I'm sorry. Speaking of names, he's starting his own private podcast.
It's a practice podcast, and it'll be called Simon Says after my last name. So I think we got the name thing down okay, but we need to work on content and audio visual stuff, but we're getting there.
You'll get there. It's a lot of fun. That's the great thing about podcasts is they come in lots of shapes and sizes and levels of production. So it's really about hearing it. For those who haven't listened, how family friendly would you consider the show? You know, if you had to rate it for those who might want to be careful who they're watching around or not rate it, what would you say?
Gotcha. So we were talking about this earlier. It's everything from G to kind of close to R-ish. But we had his daughter on.
Yeah, we had my daughter on and now we have a lot of elementary school fans from the Shamrock. So, but we do, our language gets a little racy every now and again. So maybe some NC-17, but I think it depends on the episode.
And it's always respectful too. I mean, especially with some of the businesses we've been in. We are completely conscious that not only are we promoting ourselves, but we're promoting businesses in Woburn and outside of Woburn and how hard these people have worked. So we keep it light. It's not always perfect, like as far as swearing or whatnot. I'll be transparent on that, but it's respectful and promoting at the same time. So.
Right.
Yeah. What I've listened to, there was some swearing, but not a lot. So, you know, everybody's different levels of their preferences and tolerance. So I always like to warn people, but I think that's great. Tell us a little bit about some of the places that you've spotlighted on the show where you've recorded from.
So our first on location was Leonardo's Pizza in Woburn. And then we have done Foxden in Woburn. And Liquid Gold IV, a dear friend of ours that we went to high school with, she opened a business, a wellness business in Linfield. So those have been the three places we've done on.
And they've been amazing. Like the food spread that they put out for us.
Let's be honest. This isn't about promoting the business. This is about you eating, right?
Yeah, you can tell neither me.
We'll try to get every restaurant in Woburn by the end, I think.
Exactly. me or Todd have not skipped meals, as you can see. But,
good food is, you know, food equals love in my family. So I'm all about it. I think that's fantastic. It's wonderful. For those who haven't yet tuned in, where can they find your podcast?
So the audio version, full-length episodes on Spotify, but we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I emailed you guys a link tree.
Soon to be YouTube.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So I'm going to jump into the YouTube section of the world, and we'll open a YouTube page. We're going to have full episodes on there as well.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, we wish you great success. I love seeing folks hang out and do fun things and challenge themselves and bring people along for the ride. So congratulations on bringing it to Woburn. I can't wait to see who you focus on and where you record next.
Awesome. Hey, before we go, we made sure we made you a 2 ball.
Oh, nice.
So
I
yeah,
love it. I love
I'll
it.
be dropping off that this weekend or whenever you have a chance. We have some swag for you.
Oh, well, fantastic. Thank you. I look forward to wearing it.
No problem.
If nothing else, I can't wait for people to ask me what that's all about, right? Why
Absolutely.
do you have two Bald Todds on your chest? It starts a conversation.
Absolutely.
So, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
No problem. Very
Thank you for
grateful to have
having
it
us.
on.
I appreciate it. And Woburn, before I wrap up, I just want to remind you that there's a really fantastic fundraiser happening this weekend. We talked to MacIsaac Mission a couple weeks ago. Their basketball tournament is this weekend on the 22nd at the Boys and Girls Club. Even if you're not playing, they'll have raffles. You can cheer on your friends and neighbors. But they are really about supporting people who are in recovery. It's a great organization. They do really important work. So I would encourage you to go hang out and visit them if you get a chance, even if it's just stop by for a little bit. And as always, Woburn, please continue to take good care of each other.